Hold up. Wait a minute. Bruh. Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposing the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring hopes. Exploring, researching, debunking, investigating, being nosy, super nosy, being messy, being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me, the chick with ADHD, unmedicated but quite educated. Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Hi, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Hold up, y'all. My thing's all the way over there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Oh, wow. Shout out to everybody. Wow, 200 and some people here. First of all, Happy New Year's. It is May 1st. Shout out to everybody. We told, for those that follow the channel and know, you know what Happy New Year's means. Okay. Shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you, Aduko. Thank you. And let me shout out Trash Troll. I like your name. Your name is funny, though. Thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. Thank you. Unmedicated, but that's right. That's right. Unmedicated, but quite educated. Ooh, I can't take credit for those lines. Well, I could tell you that I gave those lines, but the person that did the beats, shout out to Danny Robertson. She's the one that fixed the beat on our... She's just musically like talented, y'all. Shout out to my boo, Danny Robertson. She just has it. She has it. Franny Law. Shout out to my... First of all, another person who's just like talented is my Franny Law. We have some really talented people here on our community. So shout out to you, Franny Law. Franny Law, I got something coming for you, in a separate matter, but shout out to you, Franny Law. Thank you. Appreciate you. And you are amazing. And I hope you guys are having a great Friday. Listen, it took me a minute to get in here because I've just had too much going on. Baby Bunny is actually doing a little bit better, but she's not 1,000 yet. So she'll be in and out. She comes in and out and whatnot. So she's allowed to roam. So we'll mute her. I'll mute myself and whatnot. Thank you. I think we need a matching mic stand for the pop filter. Oh, man. See, now these mic stands, this one, I think is I bought it used. You know how I am. I'm a consignment kind of girl. This one specifically, it's like giving up. I bought it and it's given up already. But it was like, it gave great reviews and whatnot. So it is what it is. But shout out to everybody. The Only Angie has been a member for 22 months now. The Only Angie, I know you've been here for a lot longer than that. I know that. Shout out to you, love. Thank you. Green IPI, thank you so much for the $5. Shout out to you, love. Thank you, Green IPI. That's a cute little horse. Thank you, love. Thank you. Last Ronin, member for 25 months. He says, let's roll. Yes, let's roll. Let's roll. You said, let's roll. Let's do it. Thank you. Estrella Mamarin, member for 5. Thank you. Yes. That's right. Hashtag. I'm saying you are talented. That's what I got to say. And keep it pushing. Danny Robertson music has skills. Yes, she does. My boo, Danny Robertson, has a lot of skills. Shout out to y'all. And thank you, Estrella Mom. Thank you so much. And look Look at Jane, member for a year. Thank you, love. Oh my goodness, y'all. Shout out to y'all. Thank you. Welcome everybody. Yes, let's go. All right. Well, we got to get started. We're going to get going, guys, because we are on a time crunch. Now, please forgive me. I have a confession to make. I do have my coffee, but typically I have my coffee in like my Starbucks cup. I have Abram's cup up there that I'm like, I'm gonna use it, but I refuse to use it quite yet because I love it so much. It's like in my decorations area. But anyways, so I decided I didn't want to do dishes. So forgive me, I have my glass cup coffee. So you won't see me drinking. I wish it was Kahlua, but it's not. So forgive me, y'all. And it's heavy when it's in glass. So shout out to everybody. I wish it was like Kahlua, but it's not. Kiss, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, love. Ooh, my stuff is like falling all over the place. Thank you. Appreciate you. Let me put some hearts in here. Just waiting for people to get in here, y'all. So we just started. Maybe the hearts will work. Maybe. Work, hearts. Work. There you go. Work. No? Come on. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. If you've been gifted, put some hearts in the chat. Thank you. Shout out to the mods. All right, guys. So let's get going. And Jane, again, thank you so much for your 1-year membership. Shout out to you, love. Estrella, everybody. Let's go. And of course, Ronan, 2 years. And only Angie, everybody else. Thank you, guys. Okay. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about, we need to do a little bit of what's going on, what happened, what had happened and everything, right? Because there's been different, like yesterday, while we were live, the news broke that Celeste Rivas, her death certificate had updated to basically say whether she was pregnant was undetermined, okay? Which the way that it's being interpreted is that it's like, it's very likely that she was, but it's a code within the state of California that they put for people that, die and could or were or possibly weren't pregnant. I guess it's like that in between, right? And that's the piece that I was very confused when we were reading it yesterday. And part of it is because it's not in one of the checkboxes. It's a written code in the death certificate. So we talked a little bit about that. Part of that too was when we first start talking about this case, if you go back, some of us, I'll put myself in there. I said, what if she was pregnant? What if she was going to come out? She was in this, situation, where she was being groomed by this man and he got scared and that would have been motive, right? Like she's pregnant. Because if she would have been pregnant, as we've seen a lot of times where, teenage girls will get pregnant and then, we find out that the father of this child is a much older person, an adult, and then that's where charges will likely come through, right? Because, this child's been violated and now she's with child and, all kinds of things. And I've actually seen that, unfortunately, play out a couple times where, youth will get, it'll be a bad situation. It's a horrible situation overall. Thank you. You said, Field 113A indicates whether the decedent was pregnant in the last year with options for yes, no, or unknown. But Flojo, that checkbox, there was the checkbox and then the written code, right? And that's where we left off. We were like, well, I don't know what that means. But they, TMZ put that out there. It left a lot of questions for us. You know what I mean? You said, we also saw a video where Celeste's parents were under investigation prior to this message. Biscuit. Well, we're going to talk about that because TMZ is also reporting that they've been cleared. So let's talk about that. We have so much to catch up. Okay. And furthermore, I think, let's see. Let me pull something real quick because this is what I saw yesterday. And I was like, okay, well, parents cleared. Now, let me be very clear about something. Okay. I don't know if that means that they were cleared by CPS or cleared by law enforcement. Who were they cleared by, right? When TMZ says, who were they cleared? Parents cleared. See if I can put myself a little bit smaller here. Parents cleared in 2024 child neglect probe. Okay, so that's CPS. Who does the probe for child neglect? It would be CPS. Sometimes in conjunction with law enforcement, depending. Just depends. Okay. Celeste Rivas' parents were investigated over allegations of child neglect and abuse about a year before D4VD's alleged murder of the 14-year-old runaway. But law enforcement found no wrongdoing. Okay. They're saying law enforcement found no wrongdoing. TMZ learned. Okay. When Celeste went missing from her family home in Lake Elsinore, the Riverside County Sheriff's Office tells us it opened an investigation last year on April 24th. That was a couple weeks after Celeste was reported missing for a second time. Time frame wise, let me see. What do they say? April 27th. Okay. Sheriff's tells us it opened an investigation that year, April 27th of 2024. They opened an investigation. Okay. And then a couple weeks later, she was reported missing for a second time. It is unknown who called to complain, but RCSD tells TMZ the person expressed concerns about a juvenile who had ran away. We're told deputies responded and interviewed everyone who was at Celeste's home, but the investigation found no evidence of child neglect. Thing is that RCSD says deputies were unable to interview Celeste, who had been located and therefore were unable to determine if a crime had occurred. Did she run away because something happened with her parents? Was this a simple case of running away? I mean, what was going on? Celeste's family reported her missing February and April of 2024, and according to prosecutors of Riverside County, deputies called D4VD on February 17th after finding his number in Celeste's phone's records, and he claimed he had last spoke to her on February 13th and 14th, but also told deputies he didn't know she was a minor or missing. Deputies say Celeste returned home to Lake Elsinore 2 days later, and her parents took her phone. D4VD allegedly got in contact with Celeste by driving to Lake Elsinore and paying one of her junior high classmates $1,000 to give her a phone that he bought for her. So not only did he pay the classmate $1,000, he also gave the classmate a phone to give to Celeste so that he can continue contact with Celeste. A little over a year after, her parents were investigated, cleared for child neglect. All right. Prosecutors say D4VD ordered Celeste an Uber to drive her from Lake Elsinore to his home in the Hollywood Hills on April 23rd, 2025. And when she arrived there, she was killed. Okay. If you remember our video yesterday, we were like, well, was she killed in a 20-minute time frame or how long, because of the timeline that the prosecutors have laid out for us. Okay. So let's talk a little bit. So they're saying that at some point, the family was investigated by law enforcement for child neglect. Now, there's the law enforcement investigation, then there's the CPS investigation. We won't know whether they were cleared by CPS, right? Because all of that information is private. You can't call CPS unless there's like, some kind of a court order or something like that. I mean, hell, even like I'm thinking, you can't just call CPS and just ask them, hey, did so-and-so get a report or so-and-so? It doesn't work that way. That information's not public. It just doesn't work that way. Law enforcement should have arrested him when they contacted him the first time. So then it makes you wonder, right? He says, I didn't know she was a minor. But nobody sent him that video that was very publicly available. I mean, even let's be very real. Even though I don't know if they thought that this relationship wasn't just a secret, right? Would you agree? This relationship wasn't just a secret. There was videos of them, right? I mean, you have them together in a Twitch stream or whatever. And she's like, turn it off, delete this whole thing, delete everything, right? He had a yearbook picture of her. He knew how he had to cover his tracks, right? They all knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. It didn't even seem like a secret at all. I mean, think about it. When she went missing and then she was found, the Discord, all these people, shout out to the Redditors, many people came over there too, and they were disclosing a lot of things. How is it? Ask yourselves this question, y'all. This is bothering me. Ask yourselves this question. How come we had so many receipts online? So many people speaking out. We had so many receipts online, guys. Her going to Vegas to Caesar's Palace, right? Because she went. She She was able to get there. The cousin Esmeralda was there, right, at that graduation thingy. So yeah, they were around a lot of people. It was a public secret. Hold, 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I mean, listen, if I got to step out, I got to step out. Uh, I was muted. I said, give me a second. Sorry, y'all. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday for those that are coming through. So let's recap a little bit because we were talking about um, how this relationship was like an open secret, right? Like it wasn't a secret. It wasn't, everybody knew. Hell, the fact that the internet had so many pictures, information, even when things were blurred, things were widely known to everybody, right? We all knew. We all knew. You said, can't, yeah, I know. Yeah, you really can't. No. So he said, I could split nails. My husband and I did a foster care for 10 years. I also worked as a behavioral interventionist in school. People failed her. There was a lot of people that failed her. There was a lot of things going on, right? Um, with that being said, we can't just act like a neglect report is that, right? Surface level, they were cleared. Okay, cool. And I get it. And he, dad has every right to stand up and say, I didn't do that. We were cleared. Not only that, but then the article came out today from the family that apparently they never accepted any payment from D4VD. And this is something that, again, TMZ dropped, right? Letting people know that they never accepted payment. So I sat there and I was like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to be hypocritical because I feel like we have a people, myself included, we have asked the family to speak out and say something, and whatnot, right? Like we want we wanted there to be like a statement, right? And it's never happened. And now that they're talking, which is amazing, they're talking, but there's just a lot of unanswered questions to this. Look at the famous money havers. They pull strings. Y'all don't even know who exists. That's right. But the fact remains that they closed the case because they couldn't speak to Celeste since she was missing. There's that. You said, how would it be? Ooh, how would it be possible for Celeste to leave the US with a valid passport, no parents, if she did go to London or England? I thought she had gone to El Salvador at some point, and that's why she had a passport. But see, then if that's the case, which does happen, kids have passports, but if that's the case, then if she was ever missing, wouldn't that flag a passport? That's the part that I don't understand. So of course, the family they're wanting to clear certain aspects of what's been put out there, right? Celeste's dad, Celeste Rivas' dad, never met D4VD nor received money from him. Okay. Celeste Rivas' father says he never met David, much less received any money from him, despite rumors floating around the family hometown that the singer was giving funds to Rivas' family. Okay. There's been online speculation, including on Reddit, Facebook, springing up around Lake Elsinore, located about 2 hours southeast of LA, that the disgraced singer and murder suspect gave money to the family. Jesus Rivas tells TMZ through his attorney, Patrick Steinfeld, I never had any contact with this guy. We haven't received any money from him or anyone in the family. Dad Rabbit, there's a difference between local and national missing. You said there wouldn't be a flag unless the FBI was involved. So there's a disconnection, right? Because I'm thinking, and you're right, like I'm thinking, okay, let's measure this. If a child's missing or running away, why would she, and if she's had a passport in her lifetime, why would this child be able to use this document to travel? Wouldn't there be some kind of flag? But maybe that's what it is. Maybe there is no flag, and that's the maybe discrepancy, the difference between local and national missing. So there wouldn't be a flag unless the FBI was involved. There's that. It is okay. Let's keep going, right? Because I have a lot of thoughts about this. Says I've never contacted this. I have never had any contact with this guy, and we haven't received any money from him or anyone from his family. As we reported, the family was so devastated after D4VD's first court appearance in the murder case last week, they decided not to talk to the public or the media. Remember, we were waiting there for hours. We thought that there was going to be like a public statement. Now they're dealing with the gossip about supposedly being paid off. Okay. All right, let me say something. I don't think that any of the family is watching any of the YouTubers, all right? But let me ask the chat. Let me ask you guys. If you guys had any advice or any thoughts, and again, this is difficult because nobody wants to be in that position that they're in, right? Nobody. It's a tragedy no matter how you put it. Whether you feel like there was wrongdoing from the parents, whether you don't, okay, this is where we're at right now. Celeste is gone on, in such a horrific way. Now we're like in this area of trying to seek justice for her and get as many details as we can and whatnot. Okay. But if you guys had any message for the family, what would that be? What would your message be to the family? Put it in the chat. Like, would it be just, I'm sorry for your loss? What would it be? Because these rumors of them being paid off, this is not new, guys. This has been circulating for months. But here's the question. There might be rumors. Let me make a statement and then a question. There might be rumors about inactions and inactions that the family took, right? No parent is perfect. I'll give you that. There might be rumors about actions and inactions and what they did and what they didn't say, okay? But in my opinion, they're owed condolences, absolutely. But in my opinion, I do believe that there's a level of messaging that needs to be given to the public. And you know why? You know why I feel that way? And I've said it before. They asked for financial support from the family to bury Celeste, and people donated money, right? So you have a lot of people that are very much invested in what happened. And I do believe that because of that, they owe something in terms of explaining. If they're saying through their lawyer, we never paid, that we don't even know who the hell David is. We never met him. They're just, what's been put out there. They're saying we didn't do, and this is what happened. We did our best, whatever that is. Okay. But I feel like if you're going to ask for money for funeral arrangements, I think it's important. I'm just going to say that. Okay. I think it was well over 35,000 or 40,000, which is amazing. It's amazing that they all came together and they supported to bury Celeste and give her the proper, resting place, right? Everything. But I would agree with that. And it's up to you guys whether you believe the family or you don't. Whether they did everything that they were supposed to do or they did or didn't, right? That's my thought. That's my thought. Yeah, and that's fine, Madison. Madison's like, I don't agree. Good, that's right. Donations are for that. You're absolutely right. I just personally always feel like if you're asking for support, you owe the public a level of letting them know, because everybody's invested. Because yes, the family, that they want, that they're primary. They want justice, right? But the public is very invested. Everybody, people that, and I'm talking about people from different countries, are invested. People that have been in my chat, people that have messaged me and everything, say, hey man, I'm so thank you for reporting on this and catching up and letting us know what's going on with this case, because I want to know. I'm very invested. This case has captured the hearts of a lot of people, and even mine, everybody. I feel very connected to this case because, like I've told you guys, I feel like kids like Celeste, they're everywhere. There's so many of them out there, and they don't get any advocacy or support. I do feel like Celeste was failed. I feel like she was failed within her own family, and that's my opinion. I feel like enough wasn't done. She didn't have the good role models, but she's not the only one. She's the child that represents many of the kids out there that don't have good role models. It's the truth. All of this was so preventative. Why didn't they look further at the time when police was calling David? Hey, she's a minor. Why did it stop there? If I'm a mom, and I am, and I'm telling you, hey, that guy right there, he's grooming my child. Okay, they're doing this and that and the other, right? They've been on the phone for hours. They've been on Discord. I took her phone. I'm doing my best. I got the school involved. We're all in it together. We really are. Why didn't it go further than this? The teacher knew that she had a boyfriend named David. Why didn't it go further than this? This is not some, guy. There was a level of leverage to make this behavior stop immediately when she was just a child. Well, she was, right? When she died, when she was 11. Hold up, guys. I had to take a marker break. Yeah, falling through the cracks. Absolutely. But there was a lot of people in that circle. And there was a lot of people that dropped the ball. So yes, like I get the parent part. I really do. And I feel for them because this is not anything that any of us want to ever go through. And is anybody perfect? Oh, we make mistakes every day. Every day. She came in here. She's like, I want my balloon and I want my markers. Lord have mercy. I know she's sick, but oh my gosh. Takes it to the 10th degree. Speaking of which, but yeah, I mean, and it's just a thought. Of course, everybody's going to have their own thought processes behind all of this, but I'm just thinking out loud of there could have been something done very earlier on. She didn't. There was preventative measures, if that makes sense, right? There was preventative measures to a lot of this. He could have been arrested. He could have been, we're told there's a video of you're buying, Celeste received $1,000, however much money. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Was it that much under wraps that people didn't even know? It's crazy work. It really is. Anyways, let's keep going. So, they've been cleared. They were cleared in 2024. And what I could be wrong based on the dispatch report that we saw from Reddit. It sounds like they did report her, even though it was a couple days that she left the home in Lake Elsinore. They did report her missing sometime on April 27th. When you look at the dates of the time frame, right? She was reported, but there wasn't like First Liberties pointed out, there was a gap. For me, child's missing, I'm going within 3 hours, 24 hours, whatever, whatever that time frame is. But there was a gap in time of when she was reported. So let's get into this TMZ report now. Hold up, y'all. Let me shout out some of the people. Thank you. Oh my God, y'all. Thank you so much for the support. Hold up. I'm like behind you guys. Kiss, thank you so much for gifting. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think I gave you Kiss gifted. Thank you. Thank you. I think twice. Thank you, Kiss. Appreciate it. Green IPI also gifted. Thank you, Green IPI, and became a member. Thank you, love guys. Put some hearts in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. And then iRock says, do we know if they use private jets, regular planes? If she's under 18, do you need parents there? I don't know. See, I don't know. How does it work for a private jet? See, I've never flown on a private jet, love. See, I've never flown on a private jet before. I do wonder. Is there like in this? I don't know. It's a great. So, I mean, I would assume security looks a little bit different, right? Doesn't mean you can't be stopped or apprehended in a private jet. It's a good point. Oh my God, Belen, thank you so much for this super chat. Rabbit works hard for the money. Yes, I do. We appreciate your amazing and heartfelt coverage. Maybe this will help the DoorDash meal. Y'all are on DoorDash this week. That's right. That's right. I actually did have DoorDash today, believe it or not, as much as I don't like the DoorDash. I had a, what's it called? One of them surf and turf burritos or something. Yeah, I was starving. That was pretty good. Thank you, Belen. I appreciate it. Thank you. Estrella Mom Aaron, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh my gosh. And then Kaylee, is it Kaylee? Kaylee, thank you so much for the super sticker. I refuse to believe Itami is a real alter. People of DID have to be responsible for all of our alters. They are all pieces of our own personality. Are you talking about dissociative disorder? DID? So, okay. So you're saying, Kaylee, thank you so much for the super sticker. You're saying that you refuse to give David the excuse that an alter personality like Itami is responsible for all this. I don't think, listen, whatever, that's how it works, right? Like you have to hold the whole person accountable, alter personality or not. So that's a good point. But I'm making sure that I say this correctly. I think you meant to say dissociative disorder. I could be wrong, but let me know. And thank you again for this. Joey, thank you for the $4.99. Are there any other substantiated reports other than TMZ? The family didn't receive money from David? I don't see anybody. I mean, I'm looking for Telemundo at this point. I'm looking for Univision at this point. Like, it would be great. The parents don't speak the language, but I'm sure somebody from, Univision or somebody else has probably hit them up and asked them for an interview that they can have in Spanish. If they do an interview in Spanish, y'all, I'll be the first one to translate. And I will tell you what was said and what wasn't said. I mean, we've done it before. Hell, when we were covering what was happening in Argentina with Liam Payne, we translated a lot in, from that dialect to English. So yeah, I would be down to translate if we can get other reports, but I would like to hear it from the parents, That's just my thought, but maybe they won't speak. And you can't really make them. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth because I do feel like maybe it's just my bias because I, being a Latina myself, I understand the nuances of the culture and whatnot. There's a lot of nuances in the culture between the dating of older men, the dealing with older men. As long as a man makes money and younger girls getting with older, like this is a thing that it's a real thing, and the acceptance of it. So, but it doesn't look like, based on what's being reported, that they accepted it, at least initially, right? They put some boundaries. They took her phone. They reported her missing. Somebody emailed the manager. It was a lot of moving parts to this for sure. Tony D, thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you. Oh my goodness. Morris, thank you so much for this. Thank you. Thank you. I hate this happened to her and her family. And I wish everyone would have done more to stop this from happening. And that's the point. There was so much. Thank you, Morris, for this super sticker. So much that could have been done to stop it. Why? Why? What? And that's the thing. I don't get it. But you know what that tells me, guys? It's like, people don't care enough. Right? Things like this have been happening for a long, long, long time. Okay. And some people don't care enough. That's what I don't know how else to put it. Until it affects you directly, then that's when people care. Until it impacts you directly, then that's when it's like, oh, the village. We need a village to, to raise a child. It takes a village. And then the village is pretty messed up, right? A lot of violence in the village, a lot of compromised people in the village. You have to work 2 jobs. There's too many moving parts until we realize that if we don't set our children up, your neighbor's kids, okay, your nieces and nephews, or, your own children, we're all kind of screwed, honestly. So we have to do better. We do. There's not enough support out there for these kids. There isn't. I see it. There wasn't enough when I was growing up either. And I'm sure you guys can attest to that too. That being said, though, yeah. So thank you, Morris, for this. Dee Dee, thank you so much for gifting another 5 memberships. Let's get into this Sheriff Harvey. Sheriff Harvey with the white tee. Ooh, with the white tee. Shout out to Sheriff Harvey. Now that Bruce Rivers, Mr. Lawyer Bruce Rivers, has been running his mouth about Harvey Levin and the t-shirts, I can't get that out of my head. So we on it. Let's get into this.
Is not only in big trouble, he's probably guilty if all of the information in this new document prosecutors in the case have filed proves to be true. But there are things under the surface that may complicate this. First of all, it is highly unusual for prosecutors to present any document like this. This honestly is weird, to have a prosecution preliminary hearing brief. You almost never see anything like that. And the reason is they're going to have a preliminary hearing, and you don't have to present a brief saying, here's what we're going to show. You just have the preliminary hearing and you show it. So then the question, why did the prosecutor in this case?
Wait a minute. Let me time out. Is the DA doing something he's not supposed to do by maneuvering this way, by dropping this document that we all read? Is he doing something he's not supposed to do? Like, what is the reason of, like, is there like a side eye happen? I want to know. Because, first of all, we were giving a lot of ish to the prosecution and the DA. Well, they don't have enough evidence, and it's the investigative grand jury, but it's not an investigative grand jury. But all grand juries are investigative, right? It was that, and then it was like, well, they don't have enough. That's why they're taking so long. This is all this kind of a case, and it's that kind of a case, and so I'm like, well, are they breaking the law by doing it this way, or do you guys think that, or at least TMZ, based on what they're presenting, like, pay attention to how things are moving, right? Because this could really ruin the case and people can really be let free. You said, I don't think it's unethical, but it's uncommon. So for somebody's podcast, it's uncommon for Nathan, the DA, Hotchman, Beth Silverman, all these, fancy lawyers. Shout out to them, well qualified lawyers. Okay, my flowers to them. But for them to move this way, right? This is happening because of the cameras. They change the way people act in court. If they can change the people's opinion, court of public opinion, right? A jury, then they have are we saying that, oh, just on the merit of the fact that he was with her, do we have enough? Do we have okay, let me ask you guys another question. Do we have the weapon? Did they say that they had the weapon? Did they say that they have the chainsaw that he used? They have the pool. But I didn't hear anywhere in the document that they had the weapon. Do we know what weapon was used? We're assuming it's definitely a knife, right? We know, we assume this. But we don't have a weapon. I didn't read that in the document. Did you guys read that in the doc? Maybe you guys saw it. I've been involved in hundreds of preliminary hearings. Thank you. I've never heard of a preliminary hearing being briefed. Okay, thank you. So like First Liberties podcast, is it Chloe? Shout out to you, Chloe. I think you're one of Flojo's. Shout out to Flojo too, who's been like working very hard on this. And shout out to you too, Chloe. It's uncommon. Why do you think, and I'm not a lawyer, but why do y'all think that they move this way? Why move this way? Why do it this way? What is the thing? You said the defense is pushing out the preliminary. It's a way for the DA to protect the record, to keep the charges from getting tossed for not having the preliminary in 10 business days, says Sassy Southern Gal. Okay, hold up. This was Beth Silverman's motion. The judge agreed it's not harmful to the trial. Neutral facts, even if they're ugly, can't bias the trial. I love this, man. I love this. They can't, you said they don't have to give everything at the stage. Okay. Hearsay? Okay. They don't, G14 classify says they don't have one of the chainsaws. So we don't know where the weapon's at. We don't know where the chainsaw's at. We don't know where her fingers are at too, right? She's missing the finger with the ring finger and the pinky finger, right? Thoughts? You never DoorDash. Sorry, I'm like reading old comments. Hold up. They want to make sure that every single charge sticks. They had to gather the evidence and the witnesses. She gave them what they wanted. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving because I'm intrigued by this, but I'm like, they've never done this before. Okay.
Do something that is really not just out of the ordinary, but is extraordinary. It is weird. Why would they do that? There are some cynics who think they did it to dirty David up. And that was the point of this whole thing, that they wanted to show that he was.
That's not my phone, by the way. I think that's Harvey's phone. Hold up. That distracted me. I'm like, whose phone is that? My phone's always on silent. Who's that?
There are some cynics who think they did it to dirty David up. And that was the point of this whole thing, that they wanted to show that he was guilty and possibly impact the jury pool. Now, that's the cynical version of this. There is another version, which is that it kind of greases the wheels so that when the preliminary hearing happens, there's momentum to get what the prosecution needs, which is the judge to say, this case is going to trial. So that's one thing. The second thing is that this is a circumstantial case. There is a lot of damning evidence in this prosecution's brief. I mean, from calling
Nothing wrong with that, right? Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson, all circumstantial too.
an Uber to pick up Celeste, to having her come to the house and then texting a half hour later, where are you? That's odd. But then, to buy chainsaws and buy a shovel and all the other things right after she disappears, it is damning. But what you don't have is him committing murder. The prosecution is saying she went in the house and she didn't come out. Now, it's interesting, they say that he stabbed her twice and then watched her bleed out. How do they know that he watched her bleed out? Because there's no evidence of any eyewitness. So that's kind of odd right there. So this is a circumstantial case. Nevertheless, there is a lot of incriminating evidence. Again, if you believe what the prosecution.
And that was a question that we had, is how do we know that he watched her bleed out? We don't have anything to say that, right? Like, unless maybe he filmed it, which would, I don't know, like maybe he filmed it. That's a very interesting assertion to make. No. An ancient student, Harvey's doing what I think, maybe trying to fill in the blank, I think, for a lot of us. But at the same time, I also feel like a lot of us would have assumed that. How do you know that he watched her bleed? And that was a question that I had too. Well, how? You said, Harvey needs to read the briefing again. But no, he did say that he watched her bleed. Where? In what part? Where did he kill her? Did he kill her in the garage? Did he kill her in another part of the home? That was a question that we had. Probably somebody texted, I watched her bleed. Or, yeah, the brief never said he watched her. Okay, well, I'm going to have to reread it again because I thought that's what the brief said. Maybe I misunderstood. We can look it up again. Sometimes I'd be making up words because, it's all in my head. The most obvious answer is the high profile nature publicity, but I haven't come to that complete decision on how I feel about it yet. It's just weird. Usually you have a prelim. I do wonder if this is like, if they decided whether this is going to be televised. I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be. Sassy Southern Girl says he stood by. Well, let's find out. Because guess what? I have the brief. We have the brief. Find. Bleed. Bleed is the word. He watched her. Let's see. I think it said stood. See, I can't even find the words. Why can't I find the words? Hold on. Let me refresh the document. It could be that the document is just like out of sorts. Okay. Let's see. Fine. All right, hold up. Now it says text exchange between the victim. April 23rd is 2025 is likely the date of victim's death. That's when all of her cellular activity ceased. Okay, hold up. Let's see. At approximately 8:40, defendant used the Uber to transport the victim. Okay. At no time did he call 911. All right, I'm a little bit forward. Defendant's text message to the victim inquiring where she was. The people contend this was part of defendant's premeditated plan to murder her. Okay. Let's see. So, despite knowing that she was dead and her family was trying to reach her. Okay, I totally went in there. Where does it say that he watched her bleed? Because I could have sworn that I heard that too. See, I'm telling you, it's like my mind is making up stuff. I'm looking at the document now. Oh, revealed. He said he had emerging multi-million-dollar career at approximately 8:40 on April 23rd. Defendant sent the Uber. They communicated before during her Uber ride, which dropped her defendant off at 10:10. At approximately 10:30, the defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. The people contend this was part of the defendant's premeditated plan, knowing that he had silenced the victim. Okay, here it is. Yes, it is. It's right here. It's like literally the page 4, and it's the second paragraph. Knowing that he had silenced the victim before she ruined his music career, as she had threatened, very soon after her arrival at his home, defendant stabbed the victim to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out. That is the statement that the document makes. And stood by while she bled out. Yeah, okay, and look. Those words weren't in the brief? BJ went, you said, over the brief. Ah. Interesting. All right, hold up. BJ went over the wording today. She searched for watch, and looked. It doesn't say watch. It says stood. Stood is different. It said stood while. Thank you. So Flojo is right. It doesn't say watch. It said stood, not watch. So shout out to Flojo was absolutely correct on this one. But that's kind of where it went. So he stood there. He watched there. I mean, I have a lot of questions about that. Anyway, so and lying in wait is another thing too that I think is another thing, right? That we've been watching. But anyways, let me hit play on this.
Is saying in this brief, if all of these things become true. Here's the danger in what the prosecution is doing, that they have outlined from soup to nuts, here's what David did. And it is a strong, strong brief that has really shaken people when you read it. It's gruesome, it's detailed, and it's damning. Now, here's the problem. If the defense is able to start poking holes in those things, and the defense says they're going to do it because they say they have proof he's not guilty of murder, that if they start poking holes, then those holes magnify because everybody is so conditioned to believing that this is an open and shut case that all of a sudden every little hole becomes a bigger hole than it would otherwise have been because people are thinking, slam dunk, he's guilty. And then all of a sudden you have to deal with holes. And here's the reality. There is a hole in every case. There's no such thing as a case that is absolutely airtight. There are always holes in cases, from the way police conduct the crime scene investigation to the way the coroner handles things. And as long as we're mentioning the coroner, that I think is going to become the centerpiece of the case. Because if you notice, the coroner has said this is a probable homicide, but that doesn't mean homicide. And the word probable is problematic because all the defense has to do is—
Let me stop poking. Well, I think you can poke a hole on every case, right? Like, is there holes? Let me ask you guys a question, right? All right. Based on the document that we read, if everything is correct, they have a receipt of the Uber. She took the Uber. That was the last place she was seen alive. Was there any other witnesses to this? What did that communication look like between them? Is there anything else in between, right? That we're missing? The only thing that's off to me, that stood out to me from that report, and I'll just say it, is the time frame that they're saying from the time that she was killed to when he left the property, because that was pretty fast. Like from the time that she arrived, so she was killed right away when she arrived. If you look at the time frame, she took the Uber at 10:10. She arrives at this part of the at his property and whatnot, and then he kills her right away. Like it took 20 minutes for her to just die. How long? Like, what are we talking about here? This is the part that is really off to me. The time frame is off, but I don't know. He left her to die. That's what was said. The time frame, we pointed this out yesterday. We said, wait a minute. When we reviewed the document, said the time frame is like 20 minutes. Hell, I mean, like I said, I got the document here. Okay. They're saying unless he stabbed her, locks her in a room, and lets her die, then he leaves. Because this is what they say. They communicated before and during the Uber ride, which dropped her off at defendant's Hollywood Hills home around 10 p.m. That's an exact time. Drops her off at 10 p.m. At approximately 10:30 p.m., defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. Okay. Where are you? Those are the text messages. The people contend this was part of defendant's premeditation plan to cover up the murder. She was already dead by this time. The autopsy can't tell you that, right? They can't figure out the time of day based on the conditions of the body. So how do they figure out that it took them from the time that she was dropped off at 10:10 to 10:30? She was already dead by 10:30 because he was sending text messages to set up the plan. That was the thing that was off to me. The timeline seems a little off to me, but I could be wrong. I don't know. You said some Uber drivers have dash and internal cams. That's right. And I do think words matter here, right? Like stood by is different than watch. Well, I mean, and we can get into the back and forth of that as well. You said can't stand Harvey's on. Y'all need a Snickers on a Friday night? Let me know. Hold up. Now let me read some. Shout out to Sylvia. Remember first of all, Sylvia, you know it's been longer than 2 years. Shout out to my boo Sylvia. She says, economy's just so bad where both parents have to work. That's true. Where is the children going to go? Or are you going to go to the streets or the internet? Right. Like you have parents with 2 jobs. It's a very real thing. You have to, it's a very real thing. I would agree. And you're right. It's very difficult. For working parents that are trying to hold 2-3 jobs at the same time to sustain a family, a mortgage, a rent, or whatever. And then, how do you keep in contact and control? You're absolutely right. Thank you. And shout out to you, Sylvia. Thank you for your consistent and constant support. Thank you. Hold up. Tony, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tony. Shout out to Tony. If you guys have been gifted by any gifters, put some hearts in the chat. Joey says, words matter. Stood by and watch. Definitely makes a difference in court. Stood by and watch. Well, ultimately, I will say this. He didn't call 911, right? I would agree with that. But the timeline to me about when she died to when he sent those text messages, I don't know. Stood by and watch ultimately makes minimal difference in court. Here's how it goes. Objection. Facts, not in evidence. Speculation. Logical inference based on the evidence. Overruled. I like hearing overruled. The judge says overruled. I'm caught up on the details, but you're absolutely, and for me, I'm like, wait a minute, but okay. Stood by and watch ultimately makes minimal difference. Like a true lawyer, right? They're giving us the 411 logical court, how they see it. Sidebar. Video uses huge amount of space. His ego's big. I thought about that too, whether he filmed it. When you say he wouldn't do that, who would dismember a 14-year-old's body? Who would groom a 14-year-old? Like, these are questions that you ask. Like, who would do something like that? He would. He did it to try to establish an alibi, Rabbit. That's right. Multiple alibis. He didn't do it just then. He did it also when, a couple hours after, hey, are you coming over? I'm just checking in, knowing that she wasn't. It's very specific. And it took them time to kind of get there too, right? And the ride was about an hour long and was sent to her family home. Yeah. And that's the question that I have. Remember when the brother did an interview? I think we might have it. We might have the screenshot of that interview. She was supposed to go to the movies with her boyfriend and she never came home. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was like, was it Celeste's brother? It was like the only interview that he did. And I think I took a screenshot of that article. She was supposed to go to a movie. Let me see if I can pull it. Celeste Rivas brother. He was supposed to go to a movie, something like that. Man, I don't have that screenshot anymore. Oh, wait. Maybe I do. Do I? I do. Yes, I have it. I have it. Let me show you. Very specific wording. Okay. Something about this thing, and this was the only time that we actually ever heard of a network interviewing somebody. This was in September. Celeste's brother told NBC LA Wednesday, okay, that family members who still live in Lake Elsinore are grieving and were afraid that the girl knew singer David. Matthew Rivas said when his sister disappeared, she was on her way to see a movie with him, but never returned. You know what this tells me is like, she told her brother where she was going. She didn't just leave, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Shout out to Kadisha Lynn. She says, no, I didn't. I always ignored TMZ. They never leave me alone. Kadisha, you know TMZ be taking your stuff. Girl, then they post it up there and then they're like, our sources indicate, when really it was Kadisha Lynn broke it down. That's what they do to everybody. They did it to the Reddit for the longest time. They were taking their receipts. Our sources indicate, y'all got to start crediting the Redditors where you guys take the pictures and the YouTubers where you take the information. Good point. Yeah. Anyways, it's a shady situation. It really is. But it said they've been begging me so hard to come on, and I'm like, no. You're like, no, never. I'm telling you, you got to become one of them. Shout out to them. He says, all right. So the brother, Matthew Rivas, said when his sister disappeared, she was on her way to see a movie with him, but never returned. Something tells me I'm going out. I'm gonna go see a movie with David. She told him where she was gonna go. And maybe I didn't delete this because you typically at some point I delete my screenshots. I didn't delete this one. This one stood out to me. I don't know why, it just did, because it was like, she did tell somebody. She was home. She was picked up from home. She was going to go to, that's what she thought. She's going to a movie. So the question then becomes, okay, that was her impression. They were arguing, well, I guess he was going there, lying in wait, and then he does this to her, right? Sad situation. She trusted that. She trusted him, right? Who would have known that he would have done her this way? Who would have known, right? It's sad. And then when you read the complaint where she says, all you want to do is have, S. Sad situation. All right, but let's keep going with Harvey and his white tea.
Is create reasonable doubt. And if they create a doubt as to whether this was even a homicide, that could bode well for David. And then the question becomes, why did it take the coroner months to come up with cause of death? Why were we told a couple of months in after her body was found that they may never be able to determine cause of death because the body was so badly decomposed and dismembered? So what allowed them to suddenly reach?
Wait. He said what? Hold up. He said something here that I'm like, huh? Hold up. Let me see if I can pull the transcript. He says, why? Let me go back because I got to slow him down sometimes. Hold up.
That he stabbed her twice and then watched her bleed out. How do they know that?
Stood or watch? We just went back and forth on that.
He watched her bleed out because there's no evidence of any eyewitness. So that's kind of odd right there. So this is a circumstantial case. Nevertheless, there is a lot of incriminating evidence, again, if you believe what the prosecution is saying in this brief, if all of these things become true. Here's the danger in what the prosecution is doing, that they have outlined from soup to nuts, here's what David did. And it is a strong, strong brief that has really shaken people when you read it. It's gruesome, it's detailed, and it's damning.
Well, I mean, and it's truth, right? That's what they're presenting. He said soup and nuts. He said soup and nuts. I've never heard anybody use it that way, but okay. All the media is repeating the watch word. You said, "Oh my God, I can't." He had to stand there to injure her, didn't he? It's a lot. You said it. Shout out to the only Angie. The full moon is doing the most tonight. I'm telling you, man. You said, "See, if I was on here, I'd lose it." LOL. He doesn't read. I have to slow it down because he goes fast. Why did the coroner take long? Oh my God. We all knew the body. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, look at the condition of the body, right? I would think that they would have taken, I mean, one of the questions that I had, and I asked you guys yesterday, I said, did he ever actually move the body out of the Tesla? Or did he always keep, like, did it go from the murder to then having the body in the Tesla? Did he actually ever move? Because at the end of the day, if he drove to Santa Barbara County just to leave, her passport and other, maybe other, the finger and the pinky, just to do all that, right? Why did he leave the rest in the car? Why did he leave the rest in the car? Because ultimately that's what got him caught, right? It's the fact that did he actually ever move the rest of her body anywhere else? Was she actually in a freezer? Because I don't know if I believe. I guess I wouldn't know. I could believe that she was there the whole time, but in horrible condition, advanced decomposition as it's been described, right? So I have to wonder. Let's keep going when he gets to that coroner part.
Now, here's the problem. If the defense is able to start poking holes in those things, and the defense says they're going to do it because they say they have proof he's not guilty of murder, that if they start poking holes, then those holes magnify because everybody is so conditioned to believing that this is an open and shut case that all of a sudden every little hole becomes a bigger hole than it would otherwise have been because people are thinking, slam dunk, he's guilty. And then all of a sudden you have to deal with holes. And here's the reality. There is a hole in every case.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a case that is absolutely airtight. There are always holes in cases.
I don't think he's lying when he says that. I could believe this, and this is what we're pointing out. Well, this is a question that we would have, like what happened here, time of death, little nuances like that are very important, right? Where she died. Did she die? She didn't die in the garage. She died somewhere else in the house, lying in wait. Where did did she fight back? Are we even able to tell that? Did she fight? Because Celeste, even when she was fighting with the Sureños, she was going back and forth with those Sureños, right? So she kind of strikes me as the person the girl that would fight. She would put up a fight. Did she see this coming?
From the way police conduct the crime scene investigation to the way the coroner handles things. And as long as we're mentioning the coroner, that I think is going to become the centerpiece of the case. Because if you notice, the coroner has said this is a probable homicide, but that doesn't mean homicide. And the word probable is problematic because all the defense has to do is create reasonable doubt. And if they create a doubt as to whether this was even a homicide, that could bode well for David. And then the question becomes, why did it take the coroner months to come up with cause of death? Why were we told a couple of months in after her body was found that they may never be able to determine cause of death because the body was so badly decomposed? and dismembered. So, what allowed them to suddenly reach a conclusion that's not definitive homicide, but is more probable?
Well, I mean, if they're working in conjunction with LAPD, they could have seen what LAPD had in their evidence. And then they could have determined, yeah, she was definitely stabbed. I mean, she does have puncture wounds in her body, right? We did see those. So she didn't cause those to herself. She didn't just stab. Like, those were there. Something caused her death. And why it took so long, I mean, her body was severed, badly decomposed, sitting in a Tesla for I don't know how long. So I don't, I mean, hello, I don't know. Listen, I grew up with Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's my science. But I never really heard him talk about bodies, decomposition. We never went there with our science. So I do wonder, Science Harvey. I took some forensics, but it never got to that point because in my mind, I'm like, I can't be, can't be working with dead bodies and stuff like that. That's something else. But, and shout out to the people that can and all the medical people and whatnot. But you said Harvey isn't wrong, the defense. So what Harvey is pointing out, right, is what the defense is going to poke holes at. The defense is going to bring up, but credibility is entirely up to the jury, and David has no credibility left at this point. Unless what if David said somebody else was involved? He didn't do all this by himself. And he starts talking. And he starts saying somebody's involved. Somebody else did this. And somebody kept a secret, and they were supposed to move the body, and they never did. Could happen. I don't know. What if he starts talking? You said shout out to Bill Nye. See, we never talked about bodies and Bill Nye the Science Guy. You said our bodies are 80% water, decomposition in the water leaving the body, and depending on the conditions, can saturate or the skin, outer tissues. Yeah, I don't think the jurors are, definitely not. He's going to say it though. You said First Liberties, how many people could be watching that might be in the jury? Oof. You never know, man. You never know. Nope. Third party liability requires proof of third party. He would have to prove how he had knowledge of the third party. So he can implicate somebody, right? He could say a third party did this. He can implicate someone. The first report did not mention half of what the news report is suggesting, which is suspicious as well. Says, okay, it's a good point. Harvey's trying to plant seeds of doubt in everybody's brain. Well, Harvey has a job, that's for sure. Outside temps of more than outside temps 100 or more, body inside plastic bag, trash bag inside of a hot trunk. Surely there was condensation. That's right. Rapid condensation, rapid decomposition could easily lead to waterlogged body parts. They don't have to be frozen. Which, by the way, did he ever bring up the frozen stuff anymore? Because I haven't heard it. They can track David's cell to see where was in the house. Yeah, and that's Barbara Bish. I think that's how they established the timeline, right? Okay, so puncturing around the lung causes some, I can't even pronounce it, but shout out to you. You can't breathe even though the lungs are intact. Then the liver knife strike. There you go. Did she put up a fight? If they've been following the case, they won't be selected for the jury, right? Let's go back to the Diddy trial. What were some of the questions that they asked? Have you been following this? Depending, they could be selected and could have been following the case. The only thing that they have to measure is that they're not biased and they're able to answer these questions. I thought that if they I mean, hell, we even had like HBO people out there when the Diddy trial happened. That jury selection was very interesting. Very interesting process. You said, yes, fingers can be pruny or wrinkled if soaked in blood for a prolonged period, similar to how they react to water. He left her in a pool too. How long was she in that house? I anticipate his defense will start putting out a smear campaign once they testify witnesses. I have a feeling too. But you know what? And First Liberty said it too, that Blair Burke is probably not going to stay in this case for too long. I don't know what that means. She's not going to stay in that case. That's right. O.J. Simpson was acquitted. Remember, O.J. Simpson was acquitted. And that was the last time they had cameras, right, in the courtroom. That's what First Liberty said, too. The last time they had cameras in the courtroom in California was during the O.J. Simpson trial. So it'd be great if in 2026, after I don't know how many years at this point, for there to be cameras in California for this. Because I would like for everybody to watch. For everybody to watch. I remember that his defense will start putting out smear campaigns. Okay, I read that. Okay, hold up. Let's keep going. Cool, they can go to jail. Conspiracy for murder. You can't even put an alternate perp defense in front of a jury unless the judge says there's enough evidence for him. Based on facts, he's dumb if he tries. You said Bill Nye is no scientist. Hey man, well that just tells you why I didn't go far in science. Come on now. All right, let's keep going. You said D4VD pretty much stole on himself, smeared himself already with the phone evidence. Oof. Listen. Okay, let's keep going, y'all. Because Baby Bunny, she's giving me time, but she gonna come in here and take away my devices.
Homicide. That's going to be a centerpiece of the defense's case and could play well with the jury. So, way too early to know. By the way, there may not even be a preliminary hearing. I know it's scheduled for next month, but the DA still has the power to go to a grand jury and say, indict him. And if they indict him, there's no preliminary hearing. That also may be a reason why the prosecution presented this brief for a preliminary hearing, because they're able to get the case out to the public, knowing perhaps that they're going to go to a grand jury, so there'll never be a preliminary hearing. So at least it's out there in the public. So a lot is still up in the air. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, y'all. And we will stay. Hold up. Now, let me make sure that I shut this off. Okay. Let me see. Joe, shout out to Joe, says, I've asked a few times and I might have missed it, but did you know that her cut up exactly, like his favorite crazy multiple personality doctor anime cartoon they love? Yeah, that's what Strategic had put out that video. It was like, what? Yeah. That's crazy, right? But, this whole case has been like one thing after another, you know what I mean? Like when you think that it can't be, and then it really is a certain way, right? It's just, that's kind of where I'm at. Now, hold up. Ooh, Flojo, let me show you guys something. What Flojo sent. He just sent me Steve's tweet. What does it say before we start on? One may wonder how D4VD could be so dumb to leave his cell phone on all 3 times he came out to SR 154 in Santa Barbara, the same road Celeste's passport was found. Maybe he didn't bring the phone, but didn't think about the license plate reader. Oh, there's a license plate reader in that area?
State Road 154, Santa Barbara. License plate reader, both directions. You're done, son. State Road 154, Santa Barbara. License plate reader, both directions. You're done, son.
Both directions. License plate reader. Both directions. He didn't think of that. Right, they always watching. I mean, see, he could have gotten one of those at the blurred. He could have got, you know how you could get one of those blur things for your plates, but those are illegal too. Remember the pic Steve put out of him sitting on like a mountain? It kind of looked like the same place. It really does, actually. Where he's like looking out. Let me see if I can make myself a little bit smaller. Hold up, y'all. Let me make sure. Hold up. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like that.
State Road 154, Santa Barbara. License plate reader, both directions. You're done, son. State Road 154, Santa Barbara.
Right at that direction up there. What was the date of that pic? That's the question. What was the date of that pic? How long ago did he post that too? You think Garagos wants the case as a defense attorney? For his daughter, you said? Oh, Lord have mercy. Maybe they said that he watched her bleed because it takes time. Yeah. He didn't put a date on it. No. But I bet you can probably ask, though. I bet Steve would answer if there's like a metadata timestamp or something on that date. Interesting. Thank you, Flojo, for that. Hold up. Let me see. What is this? May 1st. And then Steve says, I can't stop thinking about the timeline of the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez as put forth in the trial brief. Oh, wait. Do we have the picture? Hold up. Flojo. I don't know. Flojo just freaking has the receipts. There it is, Kadisha. Hold up. Let me show you. Wait. And then we'll come back to this. Hey, D4VD, were you sitting on this hill next to the drainage gully thinking about what you did to her? Were you thinking about how it looked and sounded when you saw her body into pieces? When did he post this? Look at this. What's the date of this? So, hold up. When did he post this? Yeah, February 25th, 2026. This is when all these pictures were out there. Was this the weapon? Are we looking at the weapon? That's the thing. February 25th, 2026, excuse me. Yeah, he was done, though, because this is the brief. Defendant's cellular activity and communication derived from defendant's iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate defendant's activities for Santa Barbara County. Well, the weapon? What happened to this? Telling you, the internet like put things together. It's so crazy. Okay, hold up. Let me get into this. So he says, could the 10:30 p.m. "where are you" text message actually be real and not a stage alibi? Could Celeste have walked away after an argument upon arriving in the Uber? Maybe those texts from David asking where she was were real. And after he didn't receive a response, he went looking for her, found her, and they ended up driving to Santa Barbara County, where the killing actually occurred. He could have shut her phone off when finding her, he says. In that scenario, her body could have remained along SR 154 for roughly 12 days until the pool, body bag, laundry bag, and chainsaws were ordered and delivered May 1st and May 15th. He put her somewhere while he waited for all these items, right? If he used these items. It is also worth noting that the pool was ordered after her death, meaning it would not have contained blood from the actual killing. The DA's version of events is very compressed. It's a very compressed timeline. This is what I'm saying is like their version is very like, this happened. Then the ordering of this. So was he storing her somewhere and then he cut up her body? And these are maybe answers we're never going to get, because if the DA doesn't know, then they don't know, right? But I do have to wonder. And also, did they find any? They found the pool and there was some, body matter and whatnot, right? But blood didn't get anywhere else? Nowhere else? He said, Kelly says, look at the timeline, Rabbit. It makes sense. That's interesting. You said, yeah, I made the timeline, Rabbit, kind of put this into perspective. The DA's timeline is a bit compressed. I'll give you that, because I'm like, ooh, that's so where he put her body away for while these Amazon packages arrived, subsequently Amazon delivered, that was like the other sentence, every other sentence. Then there was insect activity. That's right. At some point, that property smelled. Something smelled in the property, right? Did he put her back in the Tesla and then park the Tesla near the property? Or was she in the property when she started smelling? It's a lot of questions that we have. No, well, in the chainsaw, I think was like an electric chainsaw. There's that. So those are kind of quieter. Anyways, let's keep going. And then let's see. The DA's version of events is very compressed timeline. Arrival at 10:10, a fatal stabbing, and then being enough to send an alibi, a text. So he sends an alibi, a text at 10, sends the alibi text at 10:30 p.m. Then there's a 20-minute window. They also claim that the trip to Santa Barbara was that evening, was part of disposing of evidence. So he went to Santa Barbara that evening, shortly after killing her. However, the evidence had not even been purchased yet. Okay, like all the Amazon stuff, the pool, the chainsaw, the shovel, the blood, and everything. Other items had not even been ordered at the time of the first Santa Barbara trip, right? Those came with time. There's also a question of storing a body at his manager's Josh Marshall rental property for 12 days while waiting for tools, with nearby neighbors and and odors likely becoming noticeable within a few days, all while David was out of town, having to trust that nobody would enter a house that wasn't even leased to him. None of this changes the central point that David is responsible. He killed Celeste, and that's what I'm certain of. Like I said, and the DA is likely correct in their theory. They are working with all the evidence. Yeah, they probably have more that we don't know. Clearly. You said I'd use Instacart before that Postmates? You said because he stabbed her in the liver? Man, I don't even know. Can you do a poll for us? How many people think he had help? Do you guys still believe he had help? Because I do too. I feel like a lot more people knew about this, but that's just me, man. That's a good poll. Let's go ahead and do that poll right now. Let me see. And then we're going to put a third option, which is going to be unsure. All right. So this is how you're going to vote. Number one. Now, don't vote yet. Hold your votes. Okay. Number one is going to be, the question is, did D4VD have help? Number one is going to be no. Number two is going to be yes. And number three is going to be unsure. Go ahead and vote. Now, you vote by putting a number in the chat. 1 is no, 2 is yes, and 3 is unsure. Go vote and see what you guys are saying. Let me check real quick. Cricket Alley says, a dead body never lies. People do. Thank you, Cricket Alley, for this $1.99. And yes, Joey, thank you again for the $1.99. I appreciate you. Thank you. Ooh, look at the yeses. So clearly, we're not the only, I'm not the only one that believes that. Okay. Clearly, y'all believe the same thing that I do, too. Hold up. What is this? Look at this. Let me show you guys something. Did we ever determine where this was at? Did anybody ever determine where this lookout was? Did we ever figure that out? So this was like part of his album, right? Belen says, yeah, I think someone tried to help him or get rid of the evidence, but they jumped ship once they saw how moronic he was with leaving a trail of evidence. They probably turned state witness. For all we know, they're witnesses. I feel like he may have had done it himself, but some may have knew about it or found out and kept it quiet. King Russ. Oh, that's a great question, Storm. Was it after death? Did he have help after death? At death or after death? That's a great question. Because he could have received help afterwards. But then if he was receiving help, why would he leave the body in the Tesla? You know, Eternity says had to walk away real quick. No, shout out to you, Eternity. It's all good. You think he had help after? That's a good question. It's up on the screen. You guys can see the options. You vote. Did D4VD have help? 1 is no, 2 is yes, and 3 is unsure. And based on, let me see what the numbers are. 27% said no. 57% said yes. And girl, 18% said unsure, but the vote is changing, y'all, because people are still voting. I got bubble crap on my hands. Yeah. Before or after? Now that's a good question. I think he had help after. Yeah, after death. Well, maybe that should be our poll. How about that? Let me end this and then do another one. All right. Get your votes in. Let me stop the poll now. New poll. Okay. Oh, I can do 2 polls at the same time? Okay, cool. If you believe that he had help, I guess that would be the question. Did D4VD have help before or after her death? I think that would be the question. I'm going to say before, after. Okay, so option, don't vote yet. I'm going to tell you what to do. Create. How many polls can I create? Does this one? Oh, I think I have to hide this one. There we go. Let's stop this poll and show this one. Okay, there it is. Did he have help before or after? Put a 1 in the chat if it was before, in your opinion, or a 2 in the chat if it was after. I know I could have done both. And I forgot to add both. Oh, well. Forgive me. Y'all can say both in the chat. Y'all can say both. Don't be rude in Rabbit's chat. Lord have mercy. Why are people being rude? Come on now. It's Friday. Okay, have a Snickers. Shout out to my mods. Hey, Mark. Hey, everybody. Those that are coming in late. Shout out to y'all. I think he had help, and I feel like somebody else was supposed to move the car, but they got cold feet. You know, it's like Belen said, maybe he had help, and then he or she turned state witness. Said, I'm not going down with you. I'm snitching and I'm doing this. What is that? Which is very like upsetting, because it's kind of like, well, if you turned witness, you were still complicit to the crime. Like, even though you're now testifying. That's anyways. You think Neo was supposed to move the car? Aaron says, I think he planned to kill her and actually kill her all on his own. I think he dismembered her on his own, and I think others may have helped him to cover it up. Ooh. Look at this. So a lot of you guys are saying that he had help after. That is interesting. Oh my God, Sylvia. What did you say, Sylvia? Shout out to you, Sylvia. Sylvia, thank you so much for the super sticker. So if he ordered off of Amazon, he clearly had to done it through the phone or computer. And what was the fake name? Was it Valerie Mendez or Victoria Mendez? He used a different name by the account that he used. Why are they not questioning the person or checking his history? Thank you so much, Sylvia, for this generous super chat. I appreciate you. That's a great question. Victoria Mendez? The battery probably died. You said Victoria Mendez has an has a profile? Well, and yeah, remember wasn't there like a gift card that was used or something like that? Thank you, Sylvia, again. Shout out to everybody that supported today. I really appreciate it. You guys can support by hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. Hyping when the video's over. Thank you. Dark Side, shout out to you. Thank you for the $1.99. Saw wood fling stuff everywhere. Could he clean? Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, did he do this in the garage when it's like, I just seem like such a, first of all, like to do this in the garage. And then if y'all seen that picture of the garage, that garage is pretty small too. I don't know, man. That's a good point. There's no other matter everywhere else. Strategic, I said, this wasn't a crime of passion. His passion was this crime. Ooh, you know, Strategic Guy has a way of words. This is such an look at this. He said, this wasn't a crime of passion. This was, his passion was this crime. Thank you, Flojo, for the $4.99. That's an interesting quote. So then that just tells you that he probably would have done this again behaviorally, right? Like if you're putting it in, I mean, this is coming from somebody who's actual law enforcement, actual detective work. I know the ME never made a statement ever. What do you mean? The ME never made a statement ever. Let me see. Ah, okay. This is the radio interview. Now, hold up. There was somebody else who sent me another radio interview that I want to show. We might review Law and Crime mañana. Mañana. Will you guys watch us tomorrow if we review Law and Crime? I still have to do the Nancy Grace, but, you know, I might have to watch Nancy Grace before I review her because I need to make sure it's appropriate that I wear the Rabbit Nancy wig while I'm reviewing Celeste's case. You know, because I want to be respectful too. Okay, hold up. Let me make sure. Somebody else did send me the radio interview too, but let me make sure that I hold up. The radio interview on April 25th. Okay. Songwriter Universe. D4VD, talent, young, pop, R&B, alt artists. Okay, it doesn't say rap. For the people that are calling him a rapero, he's not a rapero. There's people out there saying he's a rapero. No, he's not. He's not a rap artist. He is I would have even given you R&B alt, like alternate, you know? Talks about his impressive debut album, Wither, in writing his songs. Listen to our interview.
All right. I read that you're from Houston, Texas. And, you know, I know you played.
Can you guys hear it? Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat. Did y'all hear that? So I can let it play. Did you hear the interview? Put a 1 in the chat if you heard the interview. You put a 2. Y'all didn't hear that? You guys heard it. Okay, I'm going to let it play. This is the interview at the radio. This was days after the crime was committed.
A lot of instruments and keyboards and everything. So how did you get started with music and playing keyboards and writing songs?
Basically, it was a very, very unorthodox way of getting into music. I was never very musically inclined my entire life. I never really focused on music or had a drive or a passion for music. I was in church choir for a little bit when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and then my mom put me in piano lessons for about like a week, and I quit after that. And then fast forward to when I was in Houston. I moved to Houston when I was 13 years old, 2012, from Queens, New York originally. And I was in middle school band. I played the flute in 7th grade.
Right.
And then after that, I got homeschooled. So I didn't really have any musicality after that. It was mostly just video games and doing schoolwork. But then I wanted to be a streamer. I wanted to be a YouTuber and a content creator. So I was playing a lot of video games and I was making a lot of montages and putting them up on the internet, on different places, different platforms. And I was using other artists' music in my little videos, but then we get copyright strikes, so I couldn't make any money off of it. And after I noticed I couldn't make money, I told my mom, and I was like, I can't make any money. What do I do? And she was like, make your own music for the videos.
Right.
I was like, okay. So I looked up the next day how to make music on iPhone, and this app called BandLab comes up. And I'm like, okay, let's start here. So I started learning how to engineer and program my voice and how to make beats and kind of produce and how to sing too. And I started making songs that very next day. And then I released my first song a month later, and put that in a video in one of my Fortnite videos. And it just took off. It took off. My friends were using it in their videos, and everybody on the internet was like, yo, this is royalty-free music. We can use it and make money off of it. Let's use all of David's songs. So, yeah, basically, it all came from a video game.
Now, was that first song Romantic Homicide?
No, the first song it's called Runaway.
Okay.
And then, Runaway.
Now I know I saw a cool documentary video, Spotify video of you and you're being in Houston with your family. And I saw, you like gaming.
Guys, this was April 25th, 2025. Does he sound, I mean, we can't see him, right? But it's the recording. It's like nothing. Gotta move on with life and do my album, and that's it. And that's that.
And then I saw you doing flips. Like, are you into gymnastics and stuff like that?
Yeah, I did gymnastics for about 5 years. I did parkour for 4 years.
All right. And so, okay. And who are some of your favorite music artists, who inspired you?
Ooh, Billie Eilish, Nirvana.
Oh my God. Billie Eilish is like, don't talk about me. Don't talk about me. First Liberties. I was so mad because people were blaming. Do you think it was him who called his own swatting of his family in the Texas home? Because I was so mad that people thought that he would have done his own swatting too. I'm like, yo, why would he do this to himself? And I was fighting with people, and I didn't want to fight, but people were fighting. So we're going to throw hands in the chat. Okay. We're going to throw chairs and bar stools and everything. So y'all think that he really did? He did this? He broke his collarbone at Coachella, tried to do a flip on stage. This guy, yeah, he did. He did. I'm like, and then he stood up like it was nothing. Remember, we were fighting. We threw hands at each other. And I was like, no. And you guys were like, some of y'all were like, Rabbit, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. How dare he? And then somebody threw a bar stool at me and I had to throw something at them. It was back and forth. Anyways, some people got blocked that night. But we were going back and forth. Y'all really think that he did his own swatting? I felt bad. I was like, why are we saying that he swatted himself? I don't know. You really do. You really do. Now that we have evidence that he was texting Celeste to make himself look innocent, I see a desperate man's modus operandi. Okay. Watch that shit come out again. I'm gonna have to apologize for throwing, beer bottles and glasses at people in the chat and how we got into it a couple months ago. Shout out to you guys, but let's keep going.
On the Smiths, Michael Jackson, of course, Deftones, the band Deftones, yeah, those are a couple of mine.
All right. Now, when did you put out Romantic Homicide? And is it true that you wrote and recorded the song on your iPhone?
Yeah, I recorded Romantic Homicide straight off my phone. And it took me 30 minutes to write too. It was very, very, I was like in a flow state when I wrote that song. It was just like I wanted to kind of convey the emotion of sadness and grieving. And I was like, I just like tapped into this emotion that I hadn't done before. And it came super easy to me. I released that song around July, August 2022. I posted it on TikTok like a night before I wanted to put it out, and it blew up instantly. It was crazy.
I'm just curious, how do you get such a good quality music recording just on your iPhone?
I use just earbuds, just the normal wired headphones.
Right. And
then I use a lot of I have a lot of presets and I know how to mess with EQ and compressors and stuff like that to make it sound good on the phone.
Cool.
It sounds pretty professional,
yeah. Then after that, you had a follow-up hit with your ballad "Here With Me." Can you talk about writing that song?
That song is even more special because I wrote that song kind of after watching the Disney movie Up. When I make music and I draw inspiration from different things, I kind of get inspired by movies, television, you know, just life things in general. But for that song in particular, it was the Disney movie. So I was just looking at Carl and Ellie's relationship, and when Ellie dies and Carl travels to Paradise Falls, I was like, I need to encapsulate this movie into a song. I instantly just got into the closet and I was working on that song and just thinking about that entire movie in the process. So.
All right. Now, David, what is your general songwriting process? Do you usually start with the track or beat, or do you come up with the poetry and lyrics and the melody first?
You know, let me stop right here, and I'm just, y'all gonna laugh at me because I say this. But when he was talking about the closet, every time I think about another infamous person, R. Kelly, the Trapped in the Closet series, I'm like, yeah, the closet situation is a little off. Don't hate me. I really was like thinking about the Trapped in the Closet. Oh my God. Anyways, let me stop because he said he wrote it in the closet. I was like, oh, I don't know why that came to my mind, but okay.
So how do you like to
My
write
bad.
songs?
It's definitely with the track and the beat first, because I'm one of those artists that like to let the instrumentals speak to me. Like I like to let the pianos talk.
Right,
like
right.
The guitars talk before I say anything, because the instruments have so much more to say than we do sometimes. And when the production is lacking, then the lyrics are lacking. So I like to make sure I get everything in order with the actual structure of the song and how it sounds before I sing on it. And then afterwards, I kind of get the melodies out of freestyle and let, you know, let everything kind of conjure up lyrically.
Cool, cool. Now you've signed with Dark Room and Interscope Records. So how'd you connect with them and decide to sign with them?
It was it was a crazy hectic process actually. When I released Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, I was getting emails from a bunch of different labels, and I was like talking to my parents about it at the time. I was like 17, 16.
Right.
And they all thought it was all scams. They were like, yo, you can't do that. This is a scam. Don't go to LA. Da, 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 da. I was like, wait, let's take some Zoom meetings. So we hopped on a Zoom call and then met the team, fell in love with the team, and then the rest is history.
All right. Now, before your album, which we're going to talk about in a minute, you released 2 EPs, Petals to Thorns and The Lost Petals. So can you talk about those 2 EPs?
Yeah, those 2 EPs are kind of like the staples of my beginning in my career, basically kind of showcasing what kind of music I make, what kind of artistic vision I have, what the visuals are looking like, what the aesthetic is, what the sonic identity is, and kind of just like introducing myself to the world in a way. So those 2 projects are kind of like the 2 foundations of what this album is going to be, and it kind of gives you like an insight to the bedroom pop side. I got some post-punk songs, I got some rock songs, I got some pop songs. So it's just like those 2 introductory projects that I have right now to my sound.
Cool, cool. Now, in April, you're going to be releasing your first full album, Withering. And so can you talk about the making of this album?
The making of this album was kind of...
Is it withering or withered? Like withering or withered?
Crazy too. I mean, I used to do a lot of different projects with different producers, and I went through maybe 5 or 6 different versions of this album. But the most recent version, the one that I'm very happy with, the one that we're going to put out, I made in a total of 4 weeks. So I went to London for 2 weeks with 3 of my friends, and we just made a song every day for 2 weeks in London. I love London because of like the gloomy aesthetic and the gloomy just like vibe and environment that London has. Like there's barely any sun there, and I love that because the music I make is really sad. And then so 2 weeks I made a song every day, came out with half the album, and then I went back to Houston for another 2 weeks, and I made the rest of the project on my phone just off of beats that people sent me and with some things that I make. And yeah, I just spent 2 weeks in a different area trying to get myself in a different mindset, and then I came back to Houston, put myself in the same mindset again, and made everything by myself. So I wanted to see what I looked like, or how I worked with different people and how I worked with myself, you know. Cool.
Now, you've already released 2 singles or 2 songs from your upcoming album, One More Dance and Where Did It Go Wrong. So can you talk about those songs?
Yeah, Where Did It Go Wrong is kind of like that perfect kind of segue into the new era. It's kind of like my fans know that sound for me the most, and that's the sound that I kind of emerged with on BandLab. It's like that classic David indie rock kind of bedroom pop sound. And I wanted to, like, bring that back after being away from it for so long. I did a couple of songs last year for different TV shows and things like that that have a different kind of sonic or sound. And I wanted to kind of bring that old sound, that old, fresh David sound back with Where Did It Go Wrong? And then with the One More Dance, it's kind of like that perfect transition into something much more evolved and much more mature, and a sound that I haven't explored yet really, which is kind of like that super structured out, very intentional song, which is what the contrast of those two songs are.
Cool. I've been listening to your new album, and I like the songs. Well, I like a bunch of the songs, but two that I really like are Atomic Land and Somewhere in the Middle. So can you talk a little about writing those two songs?
Yeah, Atomic Land is one of the ones we've made in London. I love that song so much. It was kind of like the craziest kind of process to make that song. We have it all documented on video too. We're just literally messing around with a bunch of different instruments in the studio. And my friend Scott was playing this this melody on an organ, and I kind of just started riffing over the organ. And I wanted it to feel like it was a song from a theme park, like the melodies you hear. It's very like carnival, like Ferris wheels, carousels, all that kind of stuff. So kind of wanted that song to feel like it was in a theme park in a way.
Yeah.
And then Somewhere in the Middle was a song that
yeah, like he's got a very monotone voice. I mean, he does, and I'm like, it's as someone who's not really listened to all the songs, you know. Okay. Yeah, and so I kind of wondered the same thing too. Did this interview happen before? But it says that it happened April 25th. April 25th. This week, April 25th, he is releasing his debut album. It could have, I don't know. And it's so weird that if this would have been after, right? You know, the timeline that they say that he killed Celeste.
made for my love for the Cranberries. There's this band called the Cranberries that has a very big sound, and I love them and take inspiration from them so much. So I wanted to kind of like bring that into my world too. And Somewhere in the Middle is encapsulating that and embodying the spirit of the Cranberries.
Cool. Now, besides, we talked about 4 of your songs on your new album. What are your other favorite songs on your upcoming album?
Oh my God.
Ooh, my other favorite songs would probably be Friend Again. I love Friend Again so much because of like the kind of garage.
King's like, I started yawning so serious. I'm like, can we just get it? This is like, it's crazy. So the interview could have been posted on the date. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I wonder if it was earlier. But what we could say is that he did a series of interviews after all of this happened. It was like nothing. Business as usual. He did an interview April 28th. We saw, well, at least it was uploaded April 28th. There was a lot. It was business as usual, right? All right, they got 1 more minute on this and then hurry up.
Band chorus it has mixed with kind of the slower, somber R&B like verses. And what else do I love Afterlife. Afterlife was one of my favorite songs of all time. That song is like one of my best writing pieces ever. So poetic. I love the melodies I have on there and just like the overarching orchestral themes too. It's just like a perfect dramatic song.
All right. David, want to ask you about your live show and touring. You know, can you talk about your live shows and your band? And I also read that you've toured with SZA already. So
there's like no 2X to this thing. Hurry up.
What's your live show like?
My live show is kind of a mixture of a rock show, a pop show, a little bit of like some somber indie rock. It's kind of like it makes you realize how many ranges in music and how eclectic and how much music I really have. It kind of gives a moment for each side of my kind of artist history to shine. Especially when I was on the SZA tour, you see a lot of people listening to like my lesser known songs, and then when I get to the big songs, you're like, oh my God, that's the guy that sang that. That's the guy that sang that. So it's kind of like my live show is a mixture of a vibe that anybody can kind of rock with and resonate with at the same time. And yeah, touring with SZA was amazing. I'm so honored and blessed to have her. You know, she co-signed me very early on and was a fan of her music for a minute. So it was super awesome to kind of just to get on the road with her too.
Right.
And that was that, right? They only gave him 11 minutes. This is boring. I'm cutting it off. Ay, Dios mío. So if it's, look at how long it is. I'm like, damn. Oh, the guy, his name is Dale. He's the one that did the interview, I guess. Okay, shout out to Dale. Wow. If this is correct and he did this on the 25th, as it says up here, wow. And just, it's like business as usual if this is how it went down. You know what? And she's been super quiet. It makes you wonder, you know what I mean? Like what had happened. A lot of these people aren't saying anything. You said the black community doesn't claim. Wow. Shout out to y'all. Oh my gosh. You said this guy seems like he was constantly inventing things to bitch about because he thought it made him sound deep. It's very deep, right? Like very you said we definitely don't claim him. Can you read from the beginning? I can't, Helen. I'm not reading that article. It's the whole interview. I can't. I shall not. But shout out to you. The link is up there. It's called, I'll let you know what it is. Songwriter Universe. That's what that's where the interview's at. I cannot. I refuse. Jesus said no. It gives word salad. But ultimately, let's just say that that's the case. Let's say that this is accurate and he did this interview. I don't hear, outside of just him being monotone, I just, I have to, and then this song came from here. Not once am I hearing, any kind of remorse or anything like that. It's just, this song came from here and blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's like, wait, First Liberty says, can we hear the phone call in Texas again? Get a pull. Is it David? Oh, can I pull it anymore? Let me see. Hold up. That might be the last thing that we do. Hold up. TMZ, Texas, House, swatted, D4VD. What if it's him, y'all? Oh my gosh. Hold up. Can I pull it? This was like months ago. D4VD house swatted? D4VD swatting video. Okay, I think it's what it was. 6 months ago. Is D4VD being framed under a suspicious 911 call? Oh, we found it. All right. Hold up. Let me pull it here and let me get a poll going. Okay. And then we're going to call it a night because I got to go tend to baby bunny, y'all, because she's been very patient. She hasn't taken my devices away, but she might in a little bit. Let me see if I can do a poll. Hold up. Let's see. Let's start a new poll. Let's see. Does this sound like David to you? First Liberties wants us to fight in the chat again. Yes. No. I'm going to put unsure because, you got these people like, y'all can't decide in your life. Unsure. Hold up. Now let's listen to it. Now, let me make sure I didn't speed it up because I don't want it to like mess up everybody. Oh, it's sped up. Let's put it to 1, okay? Courtesy of TMZ. This was September 18th, 2025. All right, let me mute myself. Let's create this poll. And I'm going to play it. Don't vote yet. Okay? Hold up.
What's going on?
I heard some gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were right outside my house, and I think someone's dead.
We've talked about how David's parents seem to be the victims of a swatting incident as police investigate the death of a voice on the call. Let's find out when we bring on a forensic audio expert. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Distorted, maybe someone using a voice changer. We're going to play the audio for you. We're going to try to see if someone is masking their identity. Makes you wonder who could have done this. Is it connected to Celeste? And by the way, no arrests in connection with this call.
Okay, let me try to fast forward where they get to it. Here it is.
Today, but I spend a lot of time telling people what's real and what's not.
Do you know what I call this? I call this the perfect guest for what we're about to do. So Jennifer, thank you. Let me real quick, I'm going to play the full call and then we're going to break it down.
Waller County Sheriff's Office is Amber. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Waller County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, I need help.
Okay, what's going on? Where are you at?
My address is...
Okay, what's going on?
I heard some gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were right outside my house, and I think someone's dead.
Okay, what's your name?
Say it again?
What's your name? Okay, what's a good phone number for you, sir? Okay, and why do you believe that somebody's dead?
I don't know. I just heard like a loud scream and there was gunshots.
Oh, scream. Okay. After shots. Okay, but you haven't saw or heard anything else after that?
I heard a scream.
Was it a male or a female scream, do you think?
It was like a female.
Female? Okay, we're going to go ahead and get deputies headed out that way and just confirming you're at...
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get them sent that way, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, Jennifer, let's start here. Is someone concealing their voice in this 911 call?
She gonna say yes.
Absolutely.
Jesse, you could. I'm an expert at voice decoding. Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
and how do you know what are they doing to mask their voice?
Well, first and foremost,
All right, let me stop right there. Y'all can watch the rest of that. That was 6 months. Duh. Hello, the accent. They aren't. All right, guys. Well, that was interesting. So some of you guys believe, I mean, a good portion of you guys believe that that was David. Some of you guys say no, and 3 said yes. You said discernment. You said duh. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. I do have to head out because I got to go tend to the child. Okay. The children of the corn. Shout out to everybody. Let me shout out. First of all, Brandy, thank you so much for the $4.99. My understanding is that she was going over to watch Dexter. He was obsessed with the show. He probably prepared like Dexter did with the plastic. Oof. Thank you, Brandy, for the $4.99. All I know is the brother said that she was supposed to go see a movie. And she at least told the brother where she was going. Never made it home. Morris, thank you so much for the $2. His voice sounds a little shaky. It does. He gives me kind of like when he's nervous, like he would be very shaky too, like in his voice and his tone. Cooking for you. Thank you for the $10 super sticker. Thank you, love. Shout out to you. Miss Lovely Eyes, thank you so much for your 5-month membership. Shout out to you. Don't forget that he's always saying the car was stolen. Don't forget he was saying the car was stolen too. All those inspirations he mentioned didn't murmur a child. He was stolen. The car was never reported stolen. Don't forget he was saying the car was stolen too. Okay. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. You're gonna have to explain what you mean by that. All those inspirations he mentioned didn't murmur a child. Well, remember he was doing like the Bible reads in the TikToks. Welcome everybody. You know, we're doing Bible reads, and then they would do the Bible reads and everything. And it's like, what? After you did all this? That I'm like, Lord have mercy. I can't get over that. Anyways. All right, guys. Well, I will see you guys mañana. Okay. Do me a favor, hit your notifications. We'll probably review Law and Crime and anything else we might have missed. Shout out to everybody. My email has been going off nonstop today. Thank you guys so much for the links and everything. Thank you for the great support today, guys. You guys really showed out today. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are hyping when you're watching the replay. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. You guys might have a difference of opinion than I do, and that is okay. All right. Have a great night. Bye, guys.